If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Amazon, and so many more places. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. And best of all, it's totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hello again and welcome to another episode of Real Talk with RJ. If this is your first time listening, please don't forget to like and subscribe and follow depending on what platform you're using. And if there is one available, please use that notification bell so you know exactly when we get ready to release brand new episodes. Today we're going to be asking ourselves a question that really lets you know whether you are happy in life with your life, essentially, or you're content with what is your life. So let's say you met God and he offered you the opportunity to go back to a single point in your life and move forward from there. That point would be the point that you moved too far to the left or to the right that took you off the path you really wanted to be, or you felt you should have been, which altered your entire life's course. If you can go back to that point, would you do it? Keep in mind, you would probably lose the relationships that you built after that point of your life. You would lose the knowledge that you had gained. You would just be able to redo it. You know, for the longest time, the answer to that question for me was yes, I would definitely go back. I regretted that I didn't try harder in football. The two guys that started over me when I was in high school and playing football, they weren't better than me. I just set my goal too low to make the football team instead of giving my all, giving my best and starting. I'm really confident that at minimum, I would have gotten a full ride scholarship to a university to play football. I was very good. I just didn't show it. In fact, one of the guys that started over me ended up getting a scholarship to a university, and I was way better than him. I just set my goal too low and played it safe rather than giving it all out in each practice. And in fact, in the end of the season, I started really showing up and giving my best because I wanted to play. I wanted to get on the field and play, but my coach had already made a decision on who was going to be on the field and who would not, unless we were up 60-0, and then he would let me on the field. And my first play on the field, I got a sack. You know, and they hadn't been sacking those guys all night, but I happened to get through the line and sack them. They just weren't able to pass our line. So I was really bummed out that I didn't give more. When I was in high school, I actually organized the wrestling team, the collegiate style wrestling team for my school. Long process I'm not going to talk about, but we didn't have a team, and I went to the attorney of the school and the principal, who happened to be my uncle at the time, and I submitted an outline saying how we can have a wrestling team come to our school and have a wrestling team. Excuse me, I was redundant. So we ended up getting one. We had a teacher there who happened to actually be experienced in wrestling. And my first year of wrestling, I went to the subsectionals, which is pretty far for a person who's never wrestled, you know, as an organized sport before. I was the captain of the wrestling team, and one of the things that we had in our wrestling team is that whoever is the wrestling team captain, at any time in practice, they can challenge the wrestling team captain for the position of captain. So you're always being challenged. I would have the entire wrestling team challenge me, so one after another, a person would come on that mat and wrestle with me, and I beat everyone on my team. When I was preparing for subsectionals, I opened up a challenge to the entire school. Anyone who was willing to try to face me, they can come to our Criminal Justice Academy, which is like ROTC, but for kind of like the police department. You know, it was like an explorer program, if you will. So I opened up a challenge to the entire school, spread the word out through my friends and stuff, and people were coming over there and they were wrestling me, and I beat every one of them. I had a lot of potential to really go far in wrestling. But the thing is, rather than focusing on my future, I was so focused on women. I was focused on impressing these girls. So every time there were no girls I was interested in the audience, I would destroy my opponent. The score would be a blowout and I would pin him. But every time I saw a girl that I thought was really cute, I would be beating my opponent and then I would do something stupid as a result of being cocky and arrogant and trying to show off for her. I would do something stupid and get myself pinned. There was only one person that I wrestled. I wrestled him twice. He's the only person that flat out beat me. But my wrestling record was 7-9. 7 wins, 9 losses. And out of those 9 losses, only 7 of them were the result of me doing something to show off for a girl, and I ended up getting myself pinned. I could have gone so far if I would have really, really given my all. I was a natural talent for wrestling and for football. And I was really mad at that I didn't give more, that I didn't give my best. I could easily sit there and blame the fact that I didn't have a biological father growing up because he was in prison since I was 9. I could easily blame that, but it's not right. My decisions are my decisions. I didn't have a role model that was there to push me like that because my mom she's an incredible provider, but she didn't have the luxury of always giving us the attention she would have loved to give us because she was working. She was trying to provide for her children. She was trying to put herself through school. She was trying to keep a roof over her head and food in our stomachs. So as a result of being a single parent, she didn't have the luxury of always being there with us and being able to go to every one of our wrestling matches and football practices and basketball games and sporting events because she had to provide for us. And I know if someone else was there to provide as well, she would have been at every one of those games. So you can either provide or you can be there, but you can't do both, unfortunately, because there's only one person. And my mom saw that was more important to keep a roof over her head, and she did a phenomenal job, for which I am truly grateful because I know her heart was there in every one of my wrestling matches. Her heart was there in every one of my martial arts matches when I sparred. She was right there by my side during martial arts because, I had a father, for a lot of that time, and she was right there with us. And she was doing martial arts, so we go do martial arts in the evening. After she got done working all day, she would take us to martial arts, and then we go. But she was there as much as she possibly could, but she also had to work and provide for us, so she couldn't always be at every one of my games and every one of the wrestling matches I had. If I could go back, for the longest time I wanted to. I wish I could just go back and redo high school because I'm confident I would have been in college at least. I would even venture to say, with the skill that I had back then that I wasn't tapping into, I probably could have been in the NFL. I probably could have been, wrestling in the Olympics because I would have had the right people in my path. But the thing is, I didn't have the drive. I had the talent, I had the skill, but I didn't have the drive. People see this all the time. We had a quarterback in our high school team, our high school football team. The kid was a natural. This kid was guaranteed to go to NFL, extraordinarily talented. But he thought that he was bigger than the team, and he decided that he wanted to stop going to school and stop, going to classes and think that he was going to play. So our coach was like, look, you're hurting the team if you don't play, but I can't let you play if you don't go to school, don't go to classes. If you don't get your grades up, we have an agreement. You have to do that, otherwise you can't play. And he's like, you guys are nothing without me. And, he thought the coach was going to relent. The coach didn't relent. That guy had the captain of the cheerleading squad as his girlfriend. And she decided that she wised up and said, you know what, if you're not going to do anything for your future, you're going to drop out. I'm not going to be with you because I don't want someone who's just going to be a dropout and doesn't care about their life. I want someone who wants to do something with themselves. He thought that you're giving a great thing up, try to use that you need me, I don't need you kind of approach. And she's like, want to bet? She walked away. Little by little, that guy continued to digress and ended up killing somebody. Ended up getting a life sentence in prison. That kid was a natural. There are tons of stories all around the world of people who had so much talent to do something so incredible, but because of one reason or another, they didn't exemplify or tap deep into the talent they had to maximize their potential. And it was just like, wow, that kid was extraordinarily smart, but he's just, he never did anything with that education. I live with a lot of regret thinking, man, I'd be so wealthy right now and I wouldn't have to worry about bills, and my mom would have a place that I just bought for her, and I would never have to worry about anything. I'd be playing a game that I love to play, and I'd be doing really well, and I could very well possibly have a Super Bowl ring. But, that part is hard to predict because Dan Marino is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever in the league in football, and he never got a ring. So it takes more than one person. It takes a team to get a ring. So I'm just saying, I possibly could have been on one of those winning teams. As a tight end, defensive end, I was very talented. But when I was talking to one of my good friends and I was telling him about my regrets and like, man, I really wish I tried harder and stuff like that. And I'm just not happy with the mistakes that I've made in my path that have severely altered my path. And I told him, if I could go back though, I wouldn't. Because my path, my mistakes, my poor choices in the past have led me to my fiance. If I would not have made those choices, if I would have played football and made it to the NFL, I'm confident I would never have met her. I'd probably be with some gold-digging woman that's a trophy wife, that's so gorgeous to look at, but has no personality, and is with me only because I have a whole lot of money. So she wouldn't truly love me, and I wouldn't truly be happy because I know she's with me for the money. And if the money stops flowing, she stops everything else. But my mistakes brought me to an incredible woman that was the most beautiful woman I've ever laid eyes on. My path, it wasn't so much my mistakes. Let me restate that. It was what I learned from my mistakes and my poor choices. Because mistakes are accidental. Poor choices are deliberate. But that neither is okay. Neither is good. It's just, I made poor choices and I made mistakes. But I learned from them and moved forward, trying my best and doing my best to be a better man. And as a result of that determination and that improvement, in process of time, it brought me to my incredible fiance, who's been my best friend, my right arm. This woman has had my back since day one. She looks at me like no one else looks at me. The way she smiles at me and the way she kisses me and the way she tells me she loves me, it's just like, it's unbelievable. I've never experienced it the way she does it. Because when she looks at me, it's like I'm the only one in the world. And I know that she could have anyone she wants if she really wanted to, because she's that incredible of a woman. But out of all the men she could choose, she chose me. She gave me a chance. So I started thinking about that, like, if I could go back and do it all again, would I? Now I would say no, because the friendships that I've built, not to mention the incredible fiance I've come to love with all my heart, and the character that I have today, were all the result of those poor choices and the wisdom of learning from them. When you look back, if you long for the past and you're just like, man, I wish I could change that. Man, I wish I could change that. You're not at peace with your life. Let me give you an analogy of what that's like. Let's say you're driving forward. You're supposed to drive in the direction you're looking. You don't want to drive forward while looking over your shoulder. You're going to crash into something. So if you're sitting here and focusing on the regret of your past, that's similar to driving on the freeway or driving, at a high speed, because life moves fast. Life is forward and it's moving fast. You can't go back to your past. So if you're sitting there and focusing on your past, and you're sitting there paying so much attention to the mistakes and poor choices that you've made in your past, that's like driving on the freeway while focusing on the rearview mirror. There's a reason why that rearview mirror is smaller than the windshield that's right in front of you. The windshield is huge. It's your future and your present. That's where your attention needs to be. Eventually, you'll glance back in that mirror, in your rearview mirror, just to see if there's any dangers or anything you need to be aware of. So, metaphorically, when you're looking at the rearview mirror of your past, don't long for it. Don't regret the things you have no control over now. Just look back and say, these are the lessons I need to take with me. Oh, I remember the pain that caused this person, so I don't want to go that route again. Or, you know what, I've made this poor choice before, and it caused this response. So I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to let myself go back to that route. If I start entertaining these types of conversations, they will probably motivate me to start acting the way I used to act. Nope. So you're only looking for the lesson to be taken from an event in your past. You're not longing and living in the past. Like if you were once a cheater like I used to be, and you continue to think about the women, like all the women that you cheated with, and all the women you slept with, guess what? You're training yourself and reprogramming yourself to go back and start doing that. So the only way to keep yourself from going back to that path is to take only the lessons learned, the pain that was caused by all the heartbreak that cheating caused, and learn that you don't want to do that anymore. And then you move forward, focusing only on that one person with whom you want to build an eternity. So my friend talked to me about this concept, and he's like, you know what? It's kind of like a Zen type of feeling. True peace comes from being at peace with your past. I mean, the way he said it was so much more elaborate. Like, it was kind of like Yoda, the way he said it. It was really cool. Of course, he had the right grammar. He didn't go, like, do or do not, there is no try. He didn't he didn't come up with like the Yoda voice and saying it backwards, but like it was just very, very well said. And it was essentially expressing that simple concept that being at peace with your life requires that you be at peace with your past. Now, does that mean that you are going back to your past and saying, oh, like for me, all the women I've hurt is okay? No, it's not. It's not saying that at all. It's acknowledging that that's what was. That is what happened. Unfortunately, that's what happened. That's my past. That's not who I am today, and that's not who I'm going to be tomorrow. That's not who I'm going to be in the future. So I have to accept that, yes, that was who I came from. That was who I was. But all those lessons from all that pain that I caused, and the pain that was inflicted against me from women who've done the same thing to me, those experiences have shaped me into a faithful man who wants only one woman. A loving father, a loving husband-to-be, and a good friend. I'm humbled that I have friends that really enjoy our friendship, that feel that they can talk to me about anything, even when they're the most vulnerable. And if it weren't for the experiences of my past that have shaped my character, I would not have had the privilege to be there for them. Each and every one of you has regrets and mistakes and poor choices that have caused not only yourself pain, but caused pain to other people. And if you're not careful, that pain can override your entire life. But if you're willing to acknowledge that the past was what it was, you can't do anything about the past, let it go. Take only the wisdom, take only the lessons, and take only the good memories. Because beating yourself up by reliving the pain you cause other people does you nor them any good. The only thing you owe to yourself is to give yourself the best version of yourself. Learn from that past and move forward. Focus more on the windshield than the rearview mirror. Let it go. For those of you out there who have broken the heart of an incredible partner and lost them, learn from it. Don't let that loss be in vain. I promise you, yes, it hurts. I've broken the heart of many good women. And when I became a good man, I had my heart broken multiple times. But after enduring that well and refusing to go back to who I was, but focusing on who I am today and who I'm transforming in tomorrow, I was blessed to meet the most incredible woman I've ever had in my life. Finally, I'm equally yoked with a partner, an equal partner. I could not imagine heaven being heaven if she wasn't there with me. So if you endure your afflictions well, the challenges and trials that you've experienced, and will experience. If you endure them patiently and well, I promise you that the time will come where you too will find true love. It doesn't matter if you feel you're physically beautiful or physically appealing because your weight is a certain weight, or the like your boobs are a certain size or your butt's a certain size. That doesn't matter. That's not what emits true beauty. There is someone out there for each and every person. But some situations require more time. Some people will come at a later time in your life, but they will be there if you endure it well. If you're a jerk and you're a piece of garbage, that kind of character, then yeah, you're probably going to lose many great, you may have so many very attractive partners. Like there are lots of guys, I'll just make it simple. There's lots of guys out there who ran through so many women and they brag about it. Like, yeah, man, I had like all these women. I was one of them. Seriously, the number of people I have in my life is shameful. It's not something to boast about. Like, why would you want to brag if you're trying to sell a car? Why would you want to brag about how many people you've let drive this car? People are not going to want to buy that car. And I've heard people talk about, oh well, yeah, before I get with somebody, I like to test drive them. It's like test driving a car. So I would ask them this question: if you had a brand new $200,000 Lamborghini, let's say you had $300,000 Lamborghini, you pull up, you see these gorgeous people that you're attracted to. And I'll just make it general, make it simple. Let's say you're a woman and you see all these gorgeous guys out there with great bodies and they're exactly what you're attracted to. If those guys saw you in that Lambo and they're like, hey, can I drive that? You would look at them and be like, no. You might let one of them get in the passenger seat and you can, you'll drive, let them drive around with you, but you're not going to let them drive it. I don't care how sexy they are. Same thing with men who are attracted to women, for example. If they're driving this Lamborghini and they see a gorgeous woman out there who looks like everything they can ever want as a dream girl, and she comes up, oh my gosh, can I drive that? They're going to be like, no, but you can get in. Nobody in their right mind is going to let somebody drive a car that's $300,000 just because how sexy they look. None of us would do that. Now I ask you, aren't you worth more than that $300,000 Lamborghini? So why would you just let anybody drive you just because they look good? I didn't think like this in the past. It was a long journey before I came to that conclusion, before I came to that realization. Somebody should be worthy of you to express and explore the most sacred parts of your body. It shouldn't just be anyone just because they're hot. Because a car can be hot, but it can also be a lemon. It could be a gorgeous looking car that ends up breaking down on you and doesn't work for crap because it was poorly manufactured. So I said all those things to say, I have a past. I've caused a lot of pain. But because I learned from that pain, it helped me realign my process of thought, how I look at myself and how I treat my fiance, how I treat women, how I look at women as equals with respect, not as objects for my own gratification. I have honor when I look in the mirror. I no longer have secrets that are just itching to get out. The first step of being at peace with your life is coming to terms with your past and acknowledging that, yeah, I did that. I'm not proud of it. I wish I didn't, but I did that. Now we're moving forward. We're leaving that there in the past. That's where it belongs. Because if the past version of you is who you are today, you got a lot of work to do. But if the past version is a whole different person, then leave that person in the past and build on who you are today to become who you were created to become. Respect yourself and don't settle for good looks. because love is so much more than just how a person looks. If you're willing to treat yourself with respect and set standards based off of character, not financial stability, because there's tons of women out there, as I've said in a previous broadcast, there are tons of women out there with men who have or partners with so much money, but those women are miserable. And there are men in the same predicament who are miserable as well. So having a bunch of money doesn't make you happy. So instead of saying, well, I'm looking for a partner who has, a retirement plan, who has their own house, who has a good job, that stuff doesn't make a person's character. The things you should want in a partner is, will this person work their butt off to help make this place a home? Whether they're a stay-at-home partner or a hard-working partner or an equally working partner where you both are employed. The fact is, are they willing to do their best to make this relationship a heaven, a safe haven, a place of refuge, a temple, if you will? Are they trustworthy? Are they loyal? Are they supportive? Are they encouraging you to be the best version of yourself? Are they pushing you toward the dreams that matter most to you? Are they encouraging you to see your potential and make something that you don't realize you have into something greater because they believe in you? Those are the characteristics that make marriages and relationships work and flourish. Money has nothing to do with that. Yeah, financial problems cause a lot of problems in relationships because nobody wants to be broke. But financial problems have nothing to do with being in love. If you're with somebody and you can't make them a macaroni necklace and they look at it and go, oh, baby, thank you, because you made it, and they're not happy. If you're with someone that you cannot give a gift like that, you're wasting your time. Because that's the type of person that if you want to propose, if you're not making that much money, you propose to them with a ring that costs about $400 that you got from Walmart or something like that. And they'll look at that ring and like, try again. I'm gonna need some diamonds, some real diamonds. And I also am gonna need some type of gold or platinum. This silver stuff, no. You don't want that. Because that person is the kind of person that will also break up with you and leave you when you lose your job. Because they're not gonna carry you. You carry them. That's how it works. If I would have given my fiance a blow pop, one of those one of those little the candy rings. If I would have given her a candy ring or one of those rings from a quarter machine and proposed to her, she would have loved it as much as the ring that she has now that I personally designed. It doesn't matter how much I paid for that ring. The only thing that matters to her is the fact that it came from me. And I wanted to do my best when I designed to make sure that when she looks at other rings out there in the world, whether she's looking at a woman's finger or she's looking in a jewelry store, she will never see the ring that she has because that is custom for her. And that's what I wanted. I wanted a partner that's more about me than what I can do for her. She's never asked me for a cent. She's never begged me to do anything that I didn't want to do. She's always been there for me, and she's always encouraged me to be the best version of myself. She believes in me. And when I first started this podcast, she was so proud of me. And I know a lot of this episode has been talking about her, which is one of my favorite subjects to talk about. But why am I talking about that? Because if I can go back to the high school and do better and work harder, then I would have all this money and all this fame, but I wouldn't have her. And to me, she was God's award for enduring the trials and tribulations I've endured well. And there's so many more awards that are going to come. And I'm just so grateful that she gets to be a part of that. Thank you guys so much for spending more time with me on Real Talk with RJ. Signing off.